This probably changed the way I'm gonna do my makeup forever. I've been recommending this to people and now I'm like, Finally, the update you've been waiting for. This is my second Shop My Stash. Being a full-time beauty blogger as well as YouTuber, I have a pretty massive makeup collection, so it's easy for some products to fall through the cracks. And during my last Shop My Stash, I chose products that I hadn't used in a while, as well as products that I hadn't really tested beyond a first impression, and I used those products for my everyday makeup looks for the past month. If you're new here, hi, my name is Miranda. Welcome to my channel where we talk all things budget beauty. If that sounds interesting to you, then become the newest member of the Slashed Squad by hitting subscribe and the bell icon. I'm gonna start out by reviewing the products I've been using for the past month, and then we'll go ahead and shop my stash for the next round of makeup. Starting out with the foundation I chose, which was the Essence Fresh and Fit Awake Makeup. This is a healthy glow foundation, so you're gonna get a pretty radiant finish without it being too dewy, which I really liked. However, there were a few things that actually made me stop wearing this foundation about halfway through this testing period. The first thing was I've been spending more time outside, I've been running, so I've gotten tanner a little bit earlier this year due to gyms being closed, and this was already light on me to start, so it was like a week and a half into the Shop My Stash testing and it just did not match me anymore. I was also a little wary of the fragrance in this foundation. Fragrance in makeup is always just a little bit touchy for me. Aside from that though, I really loved the way that my skin looked with this foundation. It looked very naturally glowy and it has decent coverage. I could start seeing my dark spots poke through probably like midday after about 5 hours, but I was not wearing this with a primer, so just on its own, decent enough. The concealer I chose last month was actually an old favorite that I was revisiting. It's the NYX HD concealer. I used to be in love with this concealer and I was definitely reminded why after using it over the past month. It's a thinner consistency, but you still get really good coverage with it. Unfortunately, again, a shade situation with this. This is CW05 and it was just way too pink for me. Probably why it was sitting untouched in my concealer drawer. If you've been watching my past several videos, then you probably know my thoughts on this next product. For my setting powder, I chose the $1 AOA Perfect Setting Powder. This probably changed the way I'm gonna do my makeup forever. So a little backstory, when the baking makeup method became really popular, which is when you let setting powder sit over your concealer to really set it, I never really understood it. I had tried it with other powders and I was like,
this looks weird and cakey and crunchy.
Truth is, I was just not using the right powder. This powder is so finely milled, it's fluffy, it's light, it's soft. When I tried baking for the first time using this, I was like, oh, I get it now. This just completely blurs over my pores. I can really press this in my under eye area as well as my laugh line area, and I'll have no creasing in those areas throughout the day. My makeup will stay looking so fresh. Another great discovery through this Shop My Stash was the BH Cosmetics Brow Duo Powder. It's just a no frills, small compact. You do get a little mirror inside, but I didn't really find myself using it. This powder formula is very pigmented, it's soft so you can brush it through the brows really easily, and it's pretty long lasting for a brow powder. Even without setting it with a gel, my brows looked just as strong at the end of the day as they did when I first applied them. Okay, let's move on to the eyeshadow palettes that I chose. Last month I grabbed the Carity Picante palette, which is sort of an orangey warm neutrals palette, and then I also grabbed the BH Cosmetics Levitan Prince palette, which is half neutral, half bright. So let's just start out with this one, which is actually what I'm wearing today. I think that had festival season not been canceled, this would have been such a great festival palette. What I love about this is that despite these colors being so bright, because we do have so many neutral options, it's really easy to work them in as wearable pops of color. They're also very blendable and you can sheer them out easily. So today I actually mixed the bright orange and the yellow to create more of a soft peach look. I like that it's colorful, but it's not super in your face. With that said, you can definitely do in your face looks with this palette. Here's one bright and bold eye look that I did with this palette. I love how all the brights work together. But for spring, I've actually mostly been shearing these shades out to create more of a pastel moment, which is what I did right here. So if you don't use bright colors often, but you want the possibility of playing with them, I think this is a great palette to grab. Now back back into the Carity Picante palette. This is such an awesome summer neutral palette. The balance in this palette between the shimmer metallic shades and the mattes is perfect. We have enough to just create so many looks. And honestly, the quality here is on par with Morphe. With that said, I find it a little interesting because Carity is now being found in drugstores, so it's a drugstore brand. But when you consider the average number of shades you get in their palettes versus the cost, Morphe actually ends up being slightly cheaper. The Carity palettes will be like $5 to $10 cheaper up front, but in terms of the variety, you do get a smaller palette. Anyway, just some food for thought. But here are some looks that I created with this palette. I feel like every time I dipped into this palette, I knew my look would never flop. Like all of the shades work really well together without getting muddy when you start blending them. Very pigmented, very high impact. So I'm definitely on board with trying more Carity in the future. All right, let's talk about eyeliner. Now I promise, even though I have a bias against felt tip eyeliners, I really wanted this to work. I would love to have more than one liquid eyeliner to recommend to you all from the drugstore. So this is the Rimmel Wonder Ink eyeliner. I just could not get this liner to work for me. Maybe it's the type of felt that Rimmel used for this eyeliner, but it would drag and skip over my lid every time I used it. The only way I could make this liner workable for me is if I only stamped it to my lash line and that was it. Every wing looked awful. Even today I stamped it on and I felt like it looked patchy and jagged. And let me tell you this, even if I pulled my lid tight to get a straight line, which you should not do, which I haven't had to do since I was a makeup beginner, it still didn't give me a straight line. So this one was a letdown. The mascara that I chose during my last Shop My Stash was the BH Cosmetics Stellar Lash. Now, I've always been a very vocal fan of this mascara. I feel like it's a better dupe for Better Than Sex than L'Oreal Lash Paradise. It doesn't weigh my lashes down as much as Lash Paradise does, so you do still get kind of that curled fan effect. However, now that I've been using this mascara regularly, I think my mind may have changed, which is a shame because I've been recommending this to people and now I'm like, So here's the thing, Stellar Lash, it's gonna give you beautiful fanned out lashes. Like I said, you get a very similar effect to Better Than Sex from Too Faced. Similar brush as well, it's got that hourglass shape. But now that I've actually been using it regularly and it's not just a part of my rotation between like 10 other mascaras, it dried up on me so fast. And it was like overnight, this turned into a clumpy mess. It seems like when I was only using it once in a while, the formula stayed pretty stable and the results were consistent. But once this became my everyday mascara, I mean, it turned clumpy, dry, and flaky very quickly. Maybe similarly to what I do with the NYX On The Rise mascara, I might start just buying these in mini sizes. And that's my tip for any mascara that you really like, but maybe it dries out too quickly. Get the mini size because you'll get more bang for your buck. You'll be able to use up the whole tube before it dries out. Speeding through a couple of these next face products, the Kokie Matte Bronzer. I really liked this. It's pigmented, easy to blend out. I think it looks really beautiful with the rest of my face makeup. They sent me, I believe, 4 shades of this product, and I think that's the whole line. And my only complaint is I wish that there was a cooler option. In the summer, I can definitely get away with doing a warmer contour, but typically I like to go for something a little bit more cool to mimic shadow. I absolutely loved the Isn't It Peachy palette from Makeup Obsession. You can find this at Target. All of these matte shades are gorgeous. Even this light one called Daydream is pretty pigmented. It's just a little bit more subtle. I loved using Hint for a real blush statement moment. Bloom up here was probably my most used shade. It's kind of a middle ground between these two. I did not find myself using Glimmer almost at all. All right, we had chosen 2 highlights. We had the AOA Velour highlighter and the Revlon Skin Lights highlighter. The AOA Velour highlighter I really liked. I probably would have liked to have a warmer shade than this one. This one's called Sometimes, but it's cool because it starts out as sort of a moussey texture, but it quickly dries down for a more powdery finish. So it works well whether or not you're using other cream products on your face. Now, Revlon Skin Lights. It was like day by day whether or not I liked this product and I couldn't figure out why. And then I realized that this highlight and how strong it is or how glowy it is really depends on the brush you're using. With this product, I have to use use like a denser brush. This one is probably the one I was reaching for most often. It's actually a Real Techniques setting brush, but it's pretty dense and it's not too flexible. But there were a couple times where I used more loose brushes like this from the Bretman Rock Wet n Wild collection, where it's just very flexible and soft. Also, I used a fan brush. When I used those types of looser brushes, I was only able to pick up the shimmer in this product, none of the actual glowy pigment behind it. So when I went in to apply, it just looked like sparkles. So that's my tip for the Revlon Skin Lights. You need sort of a denser brush. Let's finish up by talking about the lipsticks that I picked out last month. Now, the L'Oreal Signature Rouge, I already knew that I loved it. The Rimmel Lasting Finish Extreme lipstick really surprised me. The finish of this lipstick is very creamy. You do get a shine, but it still lasts a very long time, even though it's not completely transfer proof. I think just because this shade is so bright, it does leave a little bit of a stain behind. And in general, the lip look lasted all day, even through eating and drinking. So for a non-matte lipstick formula, that was pretty shocking. What's more shocking is probably what I have to say about the ColourPop Ultra Matte Lip. I used to swear by these liquid lipsticks when they first came out, and I don't know if they had a formula change or what, but I've really noticed that with the newer tubes that I've purchased from Ulta, these don't last at all on me, and everybody raves about them being so long lasting. By midday, even if I haven't eaten anything, it's just like completely faded from the inner portion of my lips. So the shade that I chose for my Shop My Stash was Beeper, but then I started using Bumble just to see if there was a difference. There wasn't. Neither of them lasted on me. So I don't know, I think I might just stop buying these. I really enjoyed the experience of sticking to this smaller makeup collection over the past month, so let's go ahead and shop my stash for the next round of products. Okay, starting out with my foundation and concealer. So I'm gonna need to be a little bit more strategic about this because in the next month, I'm probably going to be picking up some color and I'm gonna need something on the matte side for just general sweatiness as it gets hotter. So I am sort of leaning toward the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte, which is part of my mask-proof makeup routine. Let's see what else we've got here. We do have the Kokie foundation. I used this in my picking my makeup blindfolded video, but I haven't really used it since then, so that might be a good option as well. Ooh, I also have the Maybelline Super Stay foundation. That would probably be a good choice as well for long lasting coverage. You know what? I think I'm gonna go with Kokie just because it is sort of a lesser known brand and I'd like to get to know their products more. Okay, let's talk about concealer now. I gotta admit, my under eyes have been feeling really dry lately, so I wanna go with a more hydrating formula. I actually really like the L'Oreal Infallible Full Wear, but this particular shade is better for covering blemishes because it actually matches my skin. So for my under eye, I just want something a little bit lighter. Obviously, there's the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo, which I already love, so I feel like that would be a cop-out to choose. Ooh, you know what I want to go with? The Neutrogena Hydro Boost Concealer. What's really cool about this concealer is that it has hyaluronic acid in the core of the concealer stick, so you do get a little bit of moisture and skincare benefits in the concealer. Now, let me move this out of the way. Let's get some powder choices in front of us. Okay, so we've got the Natural Defense Finishing Powder, which I do like the idea of using this because it has SPF. So does the Mineral Wear Loose Powder. Oh, I realize there's some more powder on top of my drawers. Okay, so I also have Coty Airspun, the Sistar Cosmetics powder, which is sort of a beauty supply store brand. And then I have the Honest Beauty powder, which I just opened up to do the Jessica Alba routine. I think I want to go ahead and choose this because it felt very finely milled, which is what I loved about that AOA powder. So let's see if we can fall in love with this powder. All right, so now we've got sort of my mishmash eye drawer. Our last eyeliner was such a bust, but again, I don't want to, you know, pick my favorite liner. That would be a cop-out. We've got the Essence Super Last eyeliner, which is a waterproof formula, which may be nice for the hot weather. And then we have the Wet n Wild Mega Liner that I picked up for the old school YouTube makeup video. I think I want to go ahead and put the Essence Super Last Liner to the test because it is an 18-hour formula. So I'd love to see how that claim holds up in the Las Vegas heat. All right, brows, big decision to be made here. Oh, you know what might be interesting to test out is the Revlon Color Stay Brow Shape and Glow. This is a brow pen, but it also has like a highlighter end so that you can just highlight your brow bone with the same product you do your brows with. And I would like to try using the pen style brow products a little bit more because it's not something I'm super comfortable with yet, but I love the look when other people do it. Since my last mascara declutter, the one that I haven't been using the most is the Rimmel Scandalized Volume On Demand. I don't think I've really even used this since I tested it out one time in a video, so I would like to see how this works long term. Okay, next up, the drawer y'all love to hate on me for, my blush and bronzer drawer. I have not decluttered this in a while. Clearly it needs it. All right, so first up, let's find a bronzer slash contour product. We've got butter bronzer, but that's so very used in my collection already. Oh, we have the Believe Beauty palette, which might be a nice choice because it's an all-in-one palette, and I remember really liking it. Ooh, the Physicians Formula Sculpting Bronzer is a really nice cream one, and I do like using creams in the summer. They just kind of melt into your skin really nicely. Oh, I want to test this out more. This is the Essence Sun Club Matte Bronzing Powder Palette. I do think this is also relatively new. I think this would be a good choice because we do have this darker shade that would be perfect for contouring, but we have a little bit of a lighter, warmer choice for just warming up the face. So I think I want to test this out a little bit more. Blush is another story. I know we talked about doing cream blush last time with the CoverGirl Clean Fresh. I mean, I guess I could still do a cream blush even if I chose a powder contour, right? Ooh, I haven't used these NYX ombre blushes in a long time though. Ooh, that is so pretty, but it is pretty bright. This one I think is the orange one. Holy Toledo. Ooh, you know what I think I want to do? I want to add more Juvia's Place into my routine. So this is the Serafina blush. It is such a beautiful coral, so I think that's going to be really nice for the season. Okay, moving on to highlights. Okay, we have another Honest highlight right on top. I actually just used this in my mask proof makeup video as well, and I thought it was really pretty, if not just a tad soft. I haven't used the Mary Dumanizer in so long, and in our Drugstore Beauty Facebook group, which the link is below if you want to join, someone just mentioned how they miss seeing the balm talked about. Ooh, remember this? The e.l.f. HD highlighting powder? I remember really liking it. I have not used it in years. Starlight Glow. I think I want to go with this. I have not used this in forever. I'm going to save Mary Dumanizer for when we choose more cream products because I really do want to combine cream, contour, blush, and highlight. All right, liquid lipstick time. Also, this drawer has crayon style lipsticks as well, which may be a good option, and glosses. I actually do think I want to choose a gloss because overall, I just reach for glosses less. Ooh, you know what? I think I do want to use some of the tinted lip oils from the CoverGirl Clean Fresh line. Ooh, this one's so pretty. I think I'm gonna grab that. I've gotten a few comments asking about the Physicians Formula Rosé Kiss All Day pencils. They're just chubby lip pencils. And I did a blog post swatching all of these, and I'll leave that in the description below, but I'd like to test them long term. Let's see if I can find more shades. Oh, here's one. That's pretty. Ooh, okay, cool. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and test these. We have two of the glossy versions and then one matte. All right, finally, we've got the palettes. Let's see, we've got Alter Ego. This is a smaller makeup brand. They're pretty popular on Instagram, and I tested out one of their palettes and I really liked it. This one is definitely more of like a rosy sort of glitter moment. I'm kind of tired of the mauve color story though, but I think I would like to test them out. Okay, I do have this other Alter Ego palette that I have never used. This one's definitely more of a warm neutral, but I think I do want to grab this and then maybe we'll go for a colorful one just like last time. Ooh, should we do the Bretman Rock one? I feel like every time I grab this palette, it's really hit or miss. Even my first impression that I did in the video, it was like a wild ride because some of the shades just were underperforming and some of them were gorgeous. So that might be interesting to test longer term. Ooh, we have our Modern Dreamer palette from NYX. That would give us a lot of options. We do have the A Freak by Juvia's palette. I think we looked at this last time too. This one is definitely a little out there in terms of the color story. But you know, maybe we should test it out. That concludes our makeup shopping. All right, so we've got my makeup collection picked out for the next month. Do you have any opinions or experience with the products that I reviewed or picked out in this video? Let me know in the comments below. Today's shout out goes to Rosa. Thanks for being a member of the Slashed Squad. And join me over in this video next where I share my mask-proof drugstore makeup routine. I'll see you over there. Bye!